Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Let's talk about that naughty little scamp, Jake Paul. What's he been up to? Can you guess? Well, he's being sued by Eddie Hearn for defamation, and this is a $100 million lawsuit. And this dates back to 2022 when he did an interview with IFL TV, Jake Paul this is, and he's tried to get this lawsuit thrown out. It's a defamation of character lawsuit. And he's failed because the New York judge has said, no, it's legitimate. You can, this case can go ahead. So, just to recap, in case you're not aware, what Jake said was, he was talking about the Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor fight, and he said, I still think Amanda won that fight. Then you see how this judge, Glenn Feldman, that's the judge that Paul is talking about specifically, Glenn Feldman, who had the biggest gap between Taylor and Serrano in terms of scoring. Everyone pretty much had it a draw, or that Amanda won. But there's this judge, Glenn Feldman, who scored it such a big gap for Taylor, gave rounds that Amanda clearly won to Taylor. Everyone who watched that fight knows it's not a split decision. Okay, and then he referred to Usyk's rematch with Anthony Joshua. And he said Usyk had a runaway victory, clearly won that fight. This judge, Glenn Feldman, gives it to Anthony Joshua. It's like a repeated crime here. This type of shit, I'm going to call it out here in boxing because it's bullshit. Clearly this guy is getting paid money by Matchroom Boxing. Now that's the line that matters, of course. Clearly this guy, Glenn Feldman, is getting paid money by Matchroom Boxing. Okay, so Hearn filed the lawsuit, which is $100 million. It's going to go ahead. This is obviously a very long process. Hearn's reply at the time was, we all have a laugh with Jake and he's an average fighter, but I'm telling you now what he said is unacceptable. It will be dealt with because we take this sport, our values as a family, seriously, and we love the sport of boxing. Matchroom is a family business. It's not a limited company. It remains a family business, an extremely profitable one as well. So for him to come out, meaning Jake Paul, with idiotic comments without even thinking of what he said is extremely harmful to me and very disrespectful to us as a business and a family. Jake's comments will be dealt with appropriately. I'm not prepared, as I would be on many occasions, to take what he is saying with a pinch of salt because it's bang out of order and totally disrespectful to the sport of boxing and to me and to us. I take it extremely personally because they're questioning our credentials, they're questioning our integrity, and I won't have it. So he's going to have to take the brunt of that. Maybe he doesn't care, but I do. So Eddie, who's not been the most litigious of promoters, unlike his new friend, Mr. Warren, who throws writs around like they're confetti. Eddie is just, he's been he's kind of avoided any kind of litigation, hasn't he? I mean, there was a thing with, I believe it was a thing with Lawrence Sicoli at the time. And there's obviously this, which is a major, major suit against someone. But in all honesty, 100 million. I mean, I know Jake Paul's a very, very wealthy man. He may have $100 million. I honestly don't know. But that's a lot of money to lose, even if it gets boiled down to something less, to 50 billion or whatever. It's still a huge amount of money. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. You see, we all know there are some terrible decisions in boxing, absolutely terrible decisions. And you have to sort of work out, is it a case of incompetence or corruption? It can, as Teddy Atlas always said, it can only be one of those, incompetence or corruption, because we've seen some just unbelievably idiotic cards, And you have to question, I suppose you have to, let's say, put it this way, if the ruling bodies, or if it's a UK show, if the British Boxing Board of Control took their judges aside, scrutinised their cards, interviewed them, asked them whether they, why they scored certain rounds a certain way. If they did that regularly, as opposed to when there's an absolute outrage, like with the first Catterall-Taylor fight, which resulted in Ian John Lewis, one of the judges, being demoted. And in fact, he left the British board and took out his own litigation against them, claiming, I think, racism or discrimination or something. If the board did that regularly, then at least they would or the WBC or the WBA, WBO, IBF, whoever it is, local commissions, if they scrutinised these things and made statements and, policed it is the word I'm looking for. If they policed this, then they would have more, a little bit more respectability, a little bit more of a better reputation. But because they so rarely do that, it leaves boxing open to all sorts of accusations. So Jake Paul is only saying what a lot of people think. I'm not saying I agree with Jake Paul, by the way, but he is only saying what people think. A lot of people. And of course, he's walked into it. He's walked into a lawsuit by openly claiming that Matchroom are paying off a judge. I mean, that's some serious stuff there. There are ways of saying these things. You can make veiled references that people fully understand, but that leave everything a little bit ambiguous so that you can avoid being sued. But Jake hasn't done that. He's gone in mob hand feet first, said what he's going to say, probably out of anger, frustration, or whatever. He's a big supporter of Amanda Serrano, which is great. Serrano's a terrific fighter. Well done to Jake Paul for looking after her. But if you say this sort of thing, you can get sued. It's as simple as that. But anyway, let me know what you think. Whose side are you on? Hearn, Jake Paul? Do you not have a horse in the race? Do you not really care about who wins? I don't know. You let me know. Whatever thoughts you got on your mind, leave them below. Thanks for watching the video anyway. I always appreciate that. And if you could subscribe and like the video if you're new, that would help the channel a great deal. Always appreciated. And yeah, thank you very much. I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.